You can smell the river long before you reach Hollow Creek. It's not the fresh kind of smell either. It's metallic, wet, like blood diluted in water. They say it comes from the soil, or the fish, or the iron deposits deep beneath the town. But those who've lived here long enough, those who remember, know better. They say Hollow Creek is haunted, not by ghosts in the traditional sense, but by something older, hungrier. And it started with the fire, the one no one ever talks about. But the land remembers, the water remembers, and it's about to remind everyone else. Jonah Bell hadn't set foot in Hollow Creek in over 20 years, not since the summer of '95, when his sister Ellie vanished without a trace. He came back out of guilt, or maybe just unfinished business. His mother had passed, cancer. The funeral was quiet, hardly anyone showed. Hollow Creek was good at forgetting. The house was still there, crumbling on the corner of Ashford and 3rd, nestled between woods that had crept closer over the years like fingers wrapping around its frame. Jonah stood on the porch and unlocked the door. The air inside was stale, time frozen. His eyes drifted to the old stairwell. That was the last place Ellie had been seen. The first night back, Jonah couldn't sleep. He lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling as the wind howled through cracked window frames. Then he heard it, a child's giggle, light and distant. It came from upstairs. "Hello," he called, standing. No response. He climbed the stairs, each step creaking like a scream. The hallway was colder than the rest of the house. The door to Ellie's old room swung open on its own. Inside, the wallpaper peeled in long strips. Dust coated the toys still arranged like a child had just stepped away. A music box sat on the nightstand. It clicked open by itself. The lullaby played. Jonah backed out, heart hammering. The next morning, Jonah walked to the edge of Hollow Creek, where the woods began and the water whispered. He found Sheriff Dane there, older now, face lined with the weight of unsolved cases. "Didn't expect to see you back," Dane said, not looking up. "I had to come," Jonah replied. "You digging up bones?" Jonah didn't answer. Dane lit a cigarette and squinted at the water. "You hear them yet? The whispers?" Jonah paused. "What do you mean?" "Everyone hears them. Right before it starts again. Same time, every 20 years. "Starts what?" Dane crushed his cigarette under his boot. "Disappearances." Jonah found the files in the attic, buried beneath old Christmas ornaments and moldy photo albums. Manila folders, water-damaged and yellowing. Each one was labeled with a year. 1955, 1975, 1995. Each one detailed missing children. The patterns were unmistakable. Every 20 years, 5 children vanished within 5 days of each other. Always in July, always near Hollow Creek. And the final entry in the 1995 file was Ellie. Jonah flipped to the final page. It was a map, a crude one, hand-drawn. A red X marked the woods behind the house. Something had been buried there. Jonah dug for hours until the sun began to set. At first he thought he'd found a tree root, but it was too smooth. He unearthed a charred box. Inside, 5 blackened dolls, burnt, melted. The smell of ash and old rot hit him like a punch. The moment he touched the dolls, the wind stopped. The trees fell silent. Then the whispering began. A voice, high-pitched and layered, "Return what was promised." The box burst into flame. Jonah stumbled back, watching as the fire consumed it and vanished into thin air, leaving only the smell and a faint trail of soot leading deeper into the woods. He first saw her near the edge of his mother's garden, a girl in a white dress, barefoot, her face pale as chalk. She stared at him without blinking. Jonah stepped toward her. "Ellie?" She turned and ran, darting toward the woods. He chased after her, heart pounding. But when he entered the tree line, she was gone. In her place stood 5 gravestones, small, cracked, and ancient. Only one name was legible: Clara Wren, 1875. Beneath it, "Return to the Creek." Jonah brought the files to the town library, hoping someone could help make sense of it. There he met Lenora Griggs, a retired teacher who knew more than she should. "They were sacrifices," she said, voice shaking. "Every generation, to keep the town safe." Jonah stared at her. They made a pact, the founders, with something beneath the creek, in exchange for prosperity, 5 children every 20 years. That's insane. It's how Hollow Creek survived, why crops grew when others failed, why disease never spread here, until your sister, she was the last. And no one said anything. They were scared. July 20th arrived. The whispers grew louder, now constant. Children in town started complaining about nightmares, talking about a man in the water and a woman made of smoke. Jonah stood at the edge of the creek, the town's sins heavy on his back. That night, 5 children disappeared. Just like before, he saw their faces in the woods, ghostly, flickering in and out like static. They were being taken, and he was the only one who knew how to stop it. He returned to the gravestones, now fresh with overturned soil. He dug, hands raw and bleeding. He found the bones, all 5. He burned them. The air split with a screech that made the trees bleed. Then silence. The wind stopped, and the water boiled. From the creek rose a figure, tall, shapeless, wreathed in fire and smoke. "You break the pact," it said. "I bury it." The thing lunged, but Jonah stood his ground. He held up a photo of Ellie. She didn't deserve this. Neither did the others. He dropped the photo into the flames. The figure wailed and vanished. It's been 3 months. The children were never found. The whispers stopped. The creek runs clear now. Jonah stays in town, living in the old house, staring at the water. Sometimes he sees Ellie there, waving, mouthing the same thing over and over. Not done. A boy disappears in 2025. Then another. The townspeople don't speak of it. But Jonah knows. It was never about the pact. It was never about sacrifices. It was about memory. And Hollow Creek remembers everyone who dares forget. If this story shook you, share it. Let others see what lies behind peaceful small towns and the things we bury to keep living. And remember this, some stories shouldn't be forgotten. Some places never forgive, and some evil never dies. Subscribe for more dark mysteries. Comment, would you break the pact or become the next sacrifice?